right, guys, I got to tell you a story. So I was in Thackerville, Oklahoma about 3 years ago, and this guy comes through the curtain, and his name's Juan Archuleta, and I'm just calling the match. I'm sitting there minding my own business, and this guy comes through the curtain with that look in his eye, that crazy look in his eye, and I'd never met Juan. I met everybody in the sport. I never met Juan, so I look down. All I have is notes. I don't know him. We haven't met. And he's like 23-0. He's got some crazy record, and he was the champion of this and that. I remember seeing that guy thinking, I don't want to meet that guy. That's a mean guy. So Juan goes out and he puts his pace on his opponent. It was more of like an intensity and a pace and a grit that he wanted to win. So all of a sudden, this Juan Archuleta guy, he's now like 24-0. He's got like a Khabib style record. So like 2 years go by, and I go out to a kickboxing fight. Hans Molenkamp was going to kickbox, and I'm in the back at Hans' little after-fight celebration, and I meet this guy, this intense guy, this jerk that I never wanted to meet. The guy was scary. Nicest guy in the world, and he happens to be with me today, Juan Archuleta, who, by the way, I should call you Champ. How are you, Champ?
Doing good, man. Doing really good. Yeah, that's good to hear. Just hanging out here in your favorite city, New York, right now.
So, by the way, set the record straight. I mean, now you're like 26. Is there a 1 in there? Do you have a 1 on your record?
There's a 2. So I was 5-0 at the time, and I had my first loss. I was working full time as an electrician, and then after I lost, my dad's like, "You need to either go full in work or full in fighting." I was like, "All right, I'm gonna do full time fighting." He's like, "You're an idiot," and I was like, "I know." So I went full time fighting, and then that's when I went on the 18 fight win streak, and then recently lost to Pitbull. And then, now I got my world title, so can't complain.
Okay, so Pitbull, by the way, who is the one? Who is the one? When you were 23-1, who was the one?
It was this guy named Andres Ponce. He was a replacement for the World Series of Fighting. My opponent had dropped out, and I took this guy on short notice. And honestly, the fight should have ended like in the first round. I was like just dropping elbows on him, elbow after elbow, and the time ran out. And then the second round, he went to throw a head kick, and I took him down. And I was just still so new to the sport that I panicked in a triangle. I tried to do all my defenses and won, and then he ended up choking me out, and it was a devastating loss.
I hope you don't mind me bringing that up. I did not bring that up to uncover an old wound, but I do remember very clearly when I first saw your record, because we hadn't met, when I first saw your record, and Archuleta's not the easiest name to say. I mean, I'm getting ready to go on TV. I remember seeing this record was like 23-1. I want to say King of the Cage champion. There was like stuff on there. Go, how's this guy been under the radar? But now here you are, champion. So tell me this. First off, I haven't got a visit with you. You know, we were in the bubble out at the Mohegan Sun. So congratulations. There it is. Hard earned. That was a very hard fight. I had so much respect for your opponent. I mean, he was trying to beat you for 25 minutes, which I think adds to your glorious moment. But has Coker talked to you since? Do we have a match lined up?
Yeah, we're lining up Sergio Pettis. I believe he's a rightful next fight, unless Horiguchi comes back. But obviously, he has a fight on New Year's in Risen, so he's obligated to that first. So it must go on. You know, I must defend. So next one's going to be Sergio Pettis.
Well, good for Sergio. I mean, he sprung onto the scene, right? He's had 2 fights, but I think he stopped them both.
Yeah. Well, he fought Bandejas to a decision, and then he fought Alfred, both guys which I fought. I beat Alfred back when it made me 5-0, and then I fought Bandejas my 3rd fight in Bellator.
Okay. Now you had mentioned that you were in New York. What takes you to New York? Are you training?
Right now, I'm actually going to be on the Kelly and Ryan live show tomorrow. Yeah, good old Kelly. Yeah, Reaper. So
nice of you to take your time out for us little people over here, huh?
Yeah.
Well, good for you.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, thanks for having me.
So, will you happen to be? I know there's no spectators. Do you happen to be? I'm going to Bellator in it's 2 weeks. It feels like we got Lima going to be taking on Gegard. Great fight, by the way. Will you be at that?
No, I mean, I would like to. I definitely would like to, and I like to watch the featherweight Grand Prix as if I'm still the ultimate in that I beat my opponent Henry Corrales to remain the ultimate. But going into that fight, they told me take that fight and you'll secure your alternate spot. And I was like, okay. And then realizing the pandemic hit, I was like, you know what, I'm going to drop weight and I'm going to I'm gonna fight for the bantamweight title. So, but I definitely would love to go watch Lima and Mousasi fight. That's gonna be a great fight.
How does that go, by the way? Who wins that fight?
Oh man, Mousasi, you just can't count out. Every time I've counted him out, he's won. And then Lima, he just always puts on the show. But I think size, isn't Mousasi little bit bigger frame than Lima, so I'm gonna have to go with Mousasi. I'd like to see Lima win.
Juan, do you want to know what Mousasi does so well? And I don't feel like anyone's noticed it. He's noticed this kickboxer. When he is on top of you, he and I would put Luke Rockhold as these two guys that you don't want on top of. They don't get credit for that. They're not known as these ground and pound guys. When Gegard gets on top of you, you're not getting up the rest of that round.
Man, he's just so good at like riding the wave. His hips, his hand pressure is just like ground and pound. Yeah, he knows how to secure for sure. I agree.
Yeah, I go back and forth on that fight too, and I feel like the days of Douglas Lima getting his respect still are not upon us, just because he's such a nice guy. Like there's something in this sport where if you're a gentleman, you're just not perceived as a badass, even though you've got the belt and you won the Grand Prix. There's just something about that you and I should be smart enough to know is not the case, but it still does seem to play like a piece, and Lima's just such a nice guy. Lima will knock your ass out if you're in a cage, though, and we all seem to forget that.
Yeah, I mean, look what he did to MVP. He devastated him. He just showed the different levels of a martial artist he is, and But same thing with Roy, man. I mean, that's kind of what's kind of picking me to take Mousasi as the fight he had with Roy, and it was just like, man, he just manhandled him, and it's just like, I just feel like, dude, as much as I want to see Lima win, you can't count on Mousasi at all.
Yeah, I agree with you. And then I hear your point on the size, but I even question that sometimes. I mean, Lima had to be so disciplined and cut so much, do everything right to weigh 170. I don't know, man. Like on fight night, are they going to weigh the same? Are they both going to be 195? I mean, I'm just speculating, but Lima's a big dude.
Yeah, and he has his brother to train with because his brother is Diego. He's not that small either. So, he'll be used to the size, I believe.
For sure. All right, so let's look ahead. As fight fans, we got some real fun. Not just Lima and Mousasi. We got in a number of days. We've got Khabib. We got Gaiji. Yeah, break that down for me. Start at the beginning, man. What does Gaiji need to do?
I think Gaiji needs to definitely control the distance, and hopefully he's been working on his wrestling defense because he's obviously a great wrestler. But hopefully he just polished up, and the leg kicks. I think if he sticks to his leg kicks, like I fought the fight I had on World Series of Fighting with he was a headlining with who was it?
Palomino?
I think Palomino.
Okay.
Yeah, Palomino. I think it was their first fight, and it was a barn burner. So, and he was taking him out with the leg kicks, and I think if he sticks to those leg kicks, keeps defense, and sticks to his wrestling defense, he's gonna edge it out. I think Khabib fights emotional this fight. He has a lot on his mind, and I think the emotions are gonna get to him.
Now, here's an assessment that I give. Like, there's an intangible, and you have it, which is you found a way to weaponize pace. But that's very hard for fans to see. Fellow fighters can watch you and realize that you're making a weapon out of how hard you're going to go. Khabib deserves that same compliment. Gaethje doesn't get that compliment. However, Gaethje does not back down when he's tired, and therefore it nullifies. Am I right to say that?
Absolutely. Because once you start hitting that wall, that's when people break. But some people just drown it out and they just look through that wall and say, I'm going to knock this fucking wall down. Like, there's no one that's going to stop me. I'm going through this wall. You could put anyone you want against me, but I'm going through this wall. And I think both of them have that same mentality.
So if I heard you right, you're picking Gaethje.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm going with Gaethje. I think, like I said, I think Khabib's going to fight a little emotional for this fight. And, Gaethje, after his loss, him and Trevor, who's a great trainer, by the way, he knows how to say, okay, let's take a few steps back, not just one step. Let's take a few steps back, reevaluate our whole career. Okay, look, this is where we were having trouble, staying in the pocket, not getting yours and then getting out. Like, let's start implementing getting yours, getting out, and then once he's hurt, capitalize, but still staying under control and not lose your composure like he normally would, like he did with Poirier. He just wanted to say, who's my equal? Let's go in there. I'll go chin for chin. And he realized he can't do that now. He wants to have a little more longevity in the sport and taking angles, taking what's there for him, I think he's gonna, show his improvements on a martial artist level.
So anytime there's a fight, right? I mean, guys are playing gamesmanship in the media. They're trying to get in the guy's head, or they don't want to give their game plan away. But here's what both guys said, and I think they're both telling the truth. Let's start with Gaiji. Gaiji said, if I can land 4 kicks, the right kicks, I change him. Okay, that sounds right to me. Khabib said, if I cannot take him down, I have big problems. That also sounds right to me. I mean, I feel like both guys, for the first time ever, are telling us all what needs to happen. Do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I think uppercuts are going to play a huge factor on that role as well. I showed it in the fight that I had against Patchy Mix. In the 3rd round, when TJ and Tiki had left the corner, I look over at Cub and he's like, dude, just start ripping uppercuts and I promise you the shots will stop. And I started ripping uppercuts, and I think instead of relying so much on the leg kicks, if he starts sending uppercuts to Khabib in the beginning, he's going to start questioning shooting and diving in with his head down.
Sure. Oh, I agree with you. So you bring up TJ, by the way. TJ, I want to say January is when he's out of the principal's office. How's he looking in the gym?
He's looking really good. We're getting him back. He did a whole camp with me. Well, actually a half a camp. And this next fight, he's going to be doing another camp with me because hopefully I fight in the beginning of January. So he's already back on, like building a lot of strength, getting his muscles encased with muscle, or getting his shoulders encased with muscle with Coach Cal, who's very knowledgeable about, getting the body where it needs to be on performance level.
Sure. 135 is just so hard. As I look at that division, even 2 weeks ago, Sandhagen has a big glorious moment. He mentions TJ on the microphone, right? As great as it was Sandhagen's night, and even he paid respect to TJ. And as I look at that, I mean, I don't know where he's going to draw into, but he could draw right into a Sandhagen or a Sandhagen type. I mean, it's going to be tough, right? You're talking about he's getting ready. He needs to be ready.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And you know what? It was cool seeing him after my title fight, after we had won, because we were all emotional, especially after losing to Pitbull. And then we poured every ounce I had into that last training camp. And so did he. He put a lot of time and effort into helping me. And after the win, he was just so motivated to get right back into training and realize, like, man, my time's coming up. Like, I need to bring the title back home, like, for the team, for myself, for, just to keep the good momentum going. So it was good to see that, and the spark light up in his and Cub's eyes. So it was awesome to see.
Sure. That's awesome. All right, buddy, unless you got anything to get off your chest, I've had it with you. You got anything you want to share with me? You got any breaking news?
Yeah, nothing crazy, but hopefully, thank you for having me on the show. I'm ready to fight. I'm ready to throw down with anyone that's ready to get in my face. So ready to get right back in the face. Pitbull, I'm coming back after that to avenge that loss. I'm coming. He's gonna put both belts on the line. I'll put my belt on the line, and we'll do all the belts, just like Lomachenko just did with Lopez. Like, let's throw all the belts on the line. Let's have a real scrap.
Super fight, man. I tell you what, you got me on board, and I'm excited for the Sergio fight. I'm very happy for you, but I'm happy for good for Sergio, man. A world title shot, good for him.
Yeah, we're gonna bring it. He's the type of guy that's gonna go and duck and chuck, and we're gonna make fireworks. Hopefully, I'm the first card in Bellator to start the 2021 year, lose the 2020 year, and say let's get going.
I'm with you, man. I've had enough of 2020 as well. All right, Juan Archuleta, the champ, the Spaniard. Thank you, pal. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Chael. I appreciate it, man. Have a good one.
See you, buddy.